Hi, everybody. Welcome again to another special edition of In the Weeds with Jimmy Young. It's our kind of regularly scheduled weekly podcast with interesting people in the cannabis industry. Basically, it's whenever I want to talk to somebody. Okay, what can I tell you? Or if you'd like to, you can pay me to talk to you. One guy who doesn't need any introduction at all and will be always welcome on my show is Gary George from New Jersey, New York. I'm going to throw the tri-state area in there. He is literally the real cannabis entrepreneur. Gary, thank you so much for coming on. It's great to see you.
Hey, thank you so much, Jimmy. I appreciate always being on here with you, man. It's a great time over here at PCM, baby. Always.
And you are one of the few that can match my energy. You know that, right?
That's right. You're my brother from another mother, Jimmy. That's what it is, man.
Well, you may have something to see. I tell you, my mentor, Jimmy Myers, who was the first African-American sportscaster in Boston, he was my co-host for a show we called Twin Brothers.
Oh, get out of here. What?
And you can Google that or whatever you have to do. It's on YouTube. And Jimmy is still one of my besties. He calls me to check in. I call him to check in. He's let's see, if I'm that, he's in his 70s. Let's leave it at that. Right. I think once you get past 60, you don't even celebrate. It's every 5 years, right?
You're right. Exactly.
That's the way I look at it. So hey, tell me, what's going on with the next edition of the Real Cannabis Entrepreneur Conference? Well, and when is it? When is it?
Yes, it is coming up fast, ladies and gentlemen. October 5th and 6th. October 5th and 6th, Thursday and a Friday, man. It's going to be off the hook, a 2-day event. Again, our annual, the biggest one of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Last year, we had to upgrade to the largest hotel ballroom north of Atlantic City, and we still overflowed the parking lot. This year, I told them they better be prepared. They said, Gary, don't worry. We got private parking attendants ready for the cannabis crowd. I told them cannabis was bigger than that parking lot. They didn't want to believe me, but this year, we have proven it, and we're going to make sure that nobody gets turned around. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're there early because this one's going to be a banger. 40 plus speakers, 1,000 plus attendees. We got all types of professionals flying in to teach some very high level specialized information. Now, Jersey, we're in a different mode right now. Before, everybody was in the go, get the paperwork done, get the theories and concepts. Now we're into real business. Now the conversation must change. Now we must move from the paperwork to operations, to operational efficiencies, to how do you shave off this and that. That's who I'm bringing in, guys. All of the people that have been doing it forever, that's going to save you so much money by showing you the little small things in the cannabis business that you should be doing to ensure that you shave off every single cent and percentage to help your thing grow and last. RealCannabisEntrepreneur.com, ladies and gentlemen. RealCannabisEntrepreneur.com, right? Go get your tickets now. I'm telling you guys, you're gonna love it.
Okay, where is it? Where is it?
I know, I didn't even say it. Newark, New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen. Newark, New Jersey. I'm so sorry. Doubletree, man, at the airport.
That's where I was born. You know that. I know.
That's right. That's right. Jimmy he's Brick City born and raised.
Beth Israel Hospital in Newark, New Jersey, September 3rd, 1957. Do the math.
57 Chevy time. Oh, right. You came in a good year. This is dope. But yes, man, Newark, the airport, ladies and gentlemen, the Doubletree, man. I'm telling you, the facility is super dope, man. Super fly. We got the indoor pool. We network at night. We got after parties every night. It's just a lot of great fun. And if you really want to learn cannabis seriously, if you're already in the game of cannabis, this is the one you want to be at because we're not talking that surface level stuff. We're not talking that motivational crap anymore, guys. It's time to get down to real business. So all y'all want to get business, you want to get your business sharp, and you want to ensure that you stay in business. This is the conference that you want to be at, RealCannabisEntrepreneur.com. Come check us out.
The mantra is survive to thrive, Gary.
Hey, right.
Every cannabis business has to survive in order to get to that next level, which is not on the horizon. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's a tough go. You know, you got your plant touching people, and you have your ancillary services, and then you've got your media people. I mean, there's a million different ways to get involved with this industry. Can you give me a sample, perhaps, of some of your big speakers?
Oh, yeah, man. Some of the big ones we got coming over. Sequoia Turner, man. She's 15 year in the retail space, coming from Las Vegas, guys. I found her in Vegas, man. She's no joke. She's been a high level retail operations and efficiency person. She's worked at over 4 locations. She manages 4 locations now for one of the big dispensaries out there. They're called The Source Plus, and also the other dispensary she used to work at as well, the Essence. She helped on. I used to go to Essence quite frequently when I went to Vegas. But she is, I'm telling you guys, she's super duper, man. And that's one of the ones you really don't want to miss is Sequoia Turner, man, because bringing her all the way from Vegas to bring some stuff. I'm bringing my other guy, Will Bowden from Grasshopper Farms. Grasshopper Farms, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's been talking about outdoor growing in Jersey, but nobody's been willing to go that route. Everybody's just going straight to the indoor. I keep telling everybody the outdoor is a gem in disguise, especially for us in the Garden State. So someone should be entertaining outdoor growing, and that's why I'm bringing my guy Will, who's the master of outdoor growing and in cold environments, because he's got one in Michigan. So he's going to pair that up with New Jersey, show and prove you guys how you can do it for lesser money, so you don't have to go out and raise so much money to get your grow going with the indoor facility, guys. Look at outdoor, and outdoor has some very unique and specific positioning prospects over top of indoor, and Will's going to tell you more about that stuff on stage, ladies and gentlemen. So that's Will Bowden from Grasshopper Farms as well, that we got coming through.
Take a breath, Gary. Take a breath. All right, because you brought up a couple things that are not controversial, but they're policy issues, especially in New Jersey. You can grow at home here in Massachusetts, but not in New Jersey.
Right.
Is that ever going to change, you think?
Yes, it's going to change eventually. They've been talking a little bit about it, and big up to Joanne. Joanne is the one who fights it all day, every day. Joanne, man, she's she's always fighting it. I wanted to bring her on stage, but she's moving around a little bit. But yeah, they're going to come to it, but they have not yet. And that's a really sad thing for our medical patients. It's really doesn't show face in terms of a state that cares about the people who really have a medicinal aspect. You know, that should be the first and foremost, concern in this whole industry. So if you're going to allow somebody to say, yes, you can use, but you can't grow it, that's ridiculous. And I mean, it's just like tomatoes. And they're saying, well, everybody can grow tomatoes, but don't we go buy tomatoes? I haven't grown any tomatoes, guys. Well, we could just, they're still going to buy it. But the people who need it and need a lot without paying so much, yeah, let them grow it, man. That's ridiculous. Okay.
Outdoor versus indoor. You brought that up. You're certainly pumped to have an outdoor grow.
Yes.
There is an automatic issue with outdoor grows, and it has to do with mold and pesticides and all that crap with anything you grow outside, including those tomato plants. Okay? can get crap on it from the environment. So it isn't like, hey, indoors better than outdoors better. They're just two different ways to nurture the plant.
Exactly. Period. And it's each one of them has their pros and the cons, just like anything else. It's just a device or a means, right, of growing the plant, and according to the farmer and who's doing it, man, you can have some completely different results. So this is a plant, man. We got a lot to learn.
Oh my goodness gracious, do we have a lot to learn? And more importantly, we have a lot to teach our legislators. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It is one of the most frustrating things. Every week we do we talk news, and I have 14 reporters from all over the world. I have Europe, I have Canada, and then I've got coast to coast coverage. Okay.
Right.
Now we're not doing professional reports. We're doing personal 90-second to 2-minute reports with people who want to document the end of cannabis prohibition in their state. And as you know, Gary, every state is different with different challenges.
Absolutely. Lots of challenges.
So, and I keep reading about these challenges, and, take Oregon for a second. They're one of the first to go legal, or, we're not going to bust you for holding it up in your hand or putting it in your pocket, whatever. Right.
Right.
They can't get it right. Washington State and Colorado were the first two states to go. They can't get it right. I know California had a medical program for us. Blah, 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 blah. California is a completely different planet as far as I'm concerned. And I respect that planet. Okay.
You're right.
Every time I go out to California, I don't want to leave. You know what I'm saying? But
exactly.
But that may change. That may change soon enough.
There's a lot of policy stuff, man. That I think that's going to be nonstop ongoing. That's just the nature of the beast, man. When it comes to this policy, regulation, politics, I've never been that guy who was that involved with it. But I know that this is the rigmarole of what to expect. You know what I mean? What to expect. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, everybody talks about legalization. We got to have legalization. I'm like, let me tell you about legalization for a second. That means it involves lawyers and politicians. Right. Are you sure you want that? What we want is decriminalization, descheduling it,
yes,
and study it. And then, have cannabis guru. You've got an FDA, you got an ABC, you got a DEA, you got your all the different alphabet. No. Let cannabis be on its own. Give cannabis a cannabis czar with a committee.
For
I don't
real.
know. I'm just throwing these things out there because I don't like how things are happening in Washington, D.C. It takes way too long.
Way too long.
Standard time is what I call it.
CST, man. I'm telling you, you're lying, man. It is a slow motion in the cannabis industry, but like I tell everybody, I say, guys, we got to play this game. You got to understand that there's no way that you're going to change these guys infinitely the way they think and move. So we got to, as entrepreneurs at that point, we can't get so mad and got to say, guys, it's the nature of the beast. You better play to win. Just figure out how to get around it,
Right. By the way, for those who have absolutely committed acts of civil disobedience throughout their entire lives, okay, figuring out a way to get around it has been a mantra since the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Exactly.
Of all the industries, right? Of all
industries, we have the most experience in getting around things, guys. I mean, we have experts in getting around.
Now, we can joke, we can point it out, all that stuff, but it's serious. Okay, the whole point of legalization was so that someone like me who uses it medicinally, okay, especially later in life, you could go into a store, have a selection, figure out what the terpene concentration is, along with the THC and the THCA and the CBD and the CNB and BCS and I don't know all the letters, right?
Right.
Does it get you high or not? That's really what I tell you. One hit weed or two hit weed. Anyway, my point is, the whole point was to have I'll say it, to challenge the legacy market, if not get rid of it, and make it legal and legitimize it.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, Gary, nothing happens overnight.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's still the big picture. I like going into a dispensary knowing that at least part of the stuff that I'm going to be buying has been tested. I like that. And guess what? We all know about the testing issues too, right?
Yeah, testing is also presenting issues as well, right? This is the chicken and the egg syndrome. It's like we do something to help, but it also hurts, and it creates another offshoot of people doing some other things to get around those things because they're getting treated unfairly. And that's what's happening with the farmers and the cultivators, man. I really hear their stories and I feel the pain. Those guys are bringing them into testing and they're like, yo, they're getting us for these heavy levels of metals and it was fine, or they sat too long and all of a sudden this and that. And that's a huge investment to take those risks when, so those guys are starting to do some other things to ensure that they make it through those tests. And that's good and bad. It's good and bad. I would say this. Testing forces some of our cultivators to get creative to get through those tests. I don't necessarily fault the cultivators because I'm like, holy crap, you're going to take your whole business if you don't get this through. So those guys fudge some things, do some things, right, to get it through. But some of the tests, I've all heard them say, they were way too stringent. They're like, bro, this is like the regular level of metals in the plant with just growing it regularly, organically, with nothing else. Like, it's just the level a level of mercury at a level, whatever the metals that is normally in the plant, they're saying that they're going to those depths and saying, you got too much of this and this and that. And that's where it gets a little squirrely.
And again, God put it on this earth to help people medicinally. Go back millions of years. I'm not old. I'm old, but I'm not that old. The point is, now it's a living thing. It's learned behavior. I think you're familiar with where I'm going.
Yes.
Learned behavior. Okay. This is where the issue is. The people that are prohibiting it and don't understand it, they don't want to do the research or take the time to look at the science. And more importantly, what's overwhelming anecdotal evidence. Gary, how many times have you talked to somebody and they've said, cannabis has saved my life, cannabis has changed my life?
Oh, yeah. All the time. All the time.
Opioids, I think people would rather smoke weed. Oh, excuse me. Ingest, titrate cannabis. Okay? Because I've noticed, okay, that a lot of people don't want to smoke it. Okay, fine, don't smoke it. There are like 10 different ways that you can still partake in those amazing cannabinoids that are actually in every plant, right?
Right.
And they're here because they're interacting with a live system in our bodies called the endocannabinoid system.
Absolutely.
Now, Schedule 3, is that okay with you? We all know this. 3 is better than 1.
Exactly, right? That's all we can say. It's better than 1, guys. We know there's going to be some wild changes. I've been reading some different articles about the good and potentially bad, right? There's always pros and cons, right? And we know that they're never going to do something just to make it all. It's always some pros and cons. But the pros is the fact that the 280E, that would go away. That's a big pro. That's going to skyrocket revenues of cannabis companies all across the board. That's the biggest and largest benefit from the rescheduling.
And it should open up the banks too. It should.
Absolutely. And sources of funding, loans, other thing for the banks. That's huge. So it really is huge in that capacity. It really is.
And if I'm a lender, and by the way, I've never understood how money makes money. It was just one of those things. It just doesn't compute with me. Okay. When you have a cash business that's billions of dollars huge, right?
Right.
And then it becomes decriminalized and people want to support it and invest in it. All of a sudden, that cash can turn into cash times 10x.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
And so your credit works for you. You know,
right.
Everything in America is done on credit. Come on, people.
Absolutely.
Right. So there is some positives on many fronts on that one. So let me ask you a question about what your opinion is on what's going on in New York City, because there's a battle going on. Ever since the voters voted it in, everybody in New York says, hey, I'm not going to go to jail for 5 years anymore, 10 years anymore. I could just smoke this and enjoy it, because people like true democracy,
right?
But dealing with a true republic like we have is very, very challenging. And it has a lot to do, as you know, with that money.
With the money. It's all about the money.
Everybody wants to get as much as they can. Cash grabs. What's in it for me? Am I going to be politicians? Am I going to be able to keep my job if I support cannabis? I don't know. Talk to your constituents. Talk to them. Don't talk to me.
I know. That's what's so crazy about politics. Is the reason why I never wanted to play it. I mean, you can't really use your own judgments and your own opinions. You always are pinned into, if I do this, then this will happen. If I do this, then this. And I understand from a political view, forced to play that way, but that's kind of bipolar to me. I can never make a decision because I got to worry about somebody else or what else I'm affecting. I never want to be in that position. So big up to all politicians who are really good politicians. Big up to you guys. But I would never want to be in that position. It's very wild. Very wild in Canada.
We're lucky we're on the northeast, East Coast, let's just say. Because I'm amazed at what else is going on in the rest of the nation. I don't want to get into politics, but it is amazing to me that cannabis is now a pawn in the political structure and the financial structure of the United States. I live to see the day.
Right?
There's only one more thing on my bucket list. You want to know what that is?
What's that?
The U.S. men's national soccer team will win the World Cup in 2026.
Oh my God. In 2026.
It's here. It's here. It's in North America. If we're ever gonna get a chance, it's gotta be here.
You ain't lying, Jimmy. If that will be a miracle.
So was 1980, Gary. I saw that one in hockey in Lake Placid. Okay.
Did you? Well, see, Jimmy, I can't.
Come on. You know, I'm certainly that old. Sorry.
You the OG, triple OG, man.
Triple OG is right, man.
But yes, New York is a mess. It's terrible over there. Messed up from the very beginning. It had to go. The guys stalled it, who came in with the lawsuit, right? The veterans came in initially. I think it was another guys who came in initially and said, oh, this is unconstitutional. You can't pick somebody before you can't select the social equity people before you select the veterans, right? And then those were the same argument that went in, that stalled the whole Ohio-based rollout of cannabis. I started to say, is someone hiring these guys to go around and do this crap? Somebody's behind this. It doesn't make sense to me. How is it the same argument in every state? They freaking wait till it's going, and then the guy comes up and he does the same lawsuit, right? They did that. And so now that's what the limbo's all about, man. And it has truly stalled the process, man. And it's not looking very well right now. And a lot of people are losing money sitting there. And I feel for them, man, really bad, because just the process alone of doing this the right way is so many months and so much time and money invested. But to do it with a stall or a problem, oh my gosh, man, so many people aren't going to make it.
So you mentioned Ohio. In our news this week, we talk news, produced by Pro Cannabis Media. Okay.
Yes.
We have we talk a little bit about what's going on in Ohio, because you have a Republican controlled state government,
Mm-hmm.
and you already have a medical program. So on the ballot is a question to make adult use legal. And it's a big controversial subject in Ohio. I know some people in Ohio. We interviewed a prominent attorney in Ohio this week, Harry Bernstein. He's on our show. But I want to go back to it because they have the initiative. The lobbyists are funding a group called Regulate Marijuana. Regulate Marijuana like alcohol. Would you like to see that? Do you want the Alcohol Beverage Commission? Do you think they understand how to deal with a product that, let's just say, goes under that vice category, I guess?
Yeah, right.
Or adult use anyway. Adult use.
Yeah, that would be a huge mess. A huge mess. We don't want that.
You don't want that.
No.
So if you had to pick big pharma, big tobacco, big alcohol, who would you trust as regulation?
Oh, that's a good one. Big pharma. Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Tobacco.
Everybody's fearful of big pharma. I get it, okay? Because I think our health system's also
Yeah, man. I might have to go with.
Wait till you become 65, though, Gary. When you go on Medicare and you walk into a Walgreens or a CVS and you pick up your meds and there's no copay. Are you kidding me? This is brilliant. I love this country.
I would have to say alcohol in that case, man. If you're going to say big pharma, big tobacco, and alcohol, I got to go with alcohol. Yes.
Yeah. If you're good, that's where I was. And
that's
again,
where you were going. Yes, you were right. You were right. You were right.
What?
They're the best.
I don't know
best
if you know the history, but that was prohibited first.
Right.
Okay, and that's what led to the real prohibition. If you
exactly,
real, it's still real for anybody who's in it. I don't want to degrade anybody who's in it, because I support and I want to give voice to the injustices that I've seen all the time in this industry now.
Right.
And I really do think every government, I'm not saying there's a conspiracy and they have Zoom calls and they all figure this out. No, it is just part of that stigma that has been drilled into my generation of people that didn't grow up in California, okay, or in New York protesting the war in the 60s and 70s, okay?
Right.
Those were the people that weren't afraid to commit an act of civil disobedience and partake and enjoy and see and enjoy the flower back then.
Right.
So I just don't know where it's going to go. I just don't. And I guess that's one of the most exciting things. We both know that human behavior can screw this up.
Absolutely. It could go any way, man. And we're going to see a lot of crazy actors. And that was a good point you made. A lot of people making the policies and stuff like that, they don't spend the time to do any research. It's kind of like anything that's revolutionary information, that's next level information. Most people don't study it. They just, think that they know, and they talk about their opinions and what they think, but nobody does the actual research. And the people who actually do the research and come to you and tell them that, they're always so adverse and questioning in this, but they're the ones who did the least amount of research. So
right.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
And the problem with research, it's like when you handicap sports, okay? You can always find an argument or reason to support the research in this study versus the research in that study.
Right.
And I'm using this and that because it's pretty obvious that when the substance abuse community in the United States has done 30,000 research studies over the last 80 years looking for a negative about this product. What is, and then they create that I'm going to tell you, it's not made up, it's real. I get it. But guess what? Not every single person who uses cannabis is an irresponsible user. There's responsibility. It goes back to the knowledge we were just talking about. Do your research. There's this thing called Google. I've done over 400 interviews. I've Googled everything. And because when I got my medical card, I was like, I got to figure this out because I'm not sure I want to smoke it anymore.
Right.
And even though we know there's research that says, cannabis smoke isn't as bad as tobacco smoke. Okay, fine. There's going to be others out there who say, well, we just studied wood. And, we found out that there was 30% of people are not actually doing well smoking that cannabis weed. I'm like, anyway.
Yeah. See, we got all of this inconsistent conclusive data because it hasn't been, there's no university. Well, now they opened up the second university, right? It was just Alabama, the university. And the scientists there, they complained the whole time. They said, even the research that we're conducting at the university is all a moot point because they're making us grow the weed. We don't know how to grow weed. We're freaking scientists, man. We're here to study the plant.
Look, you know what? Don't diss the scientists.
I ain't going to say, I'm not going to say not like that, but they're not cultivators.
The University of Mississippi was the only college that was allowed to grow it legally for about 20 years.
Right.
And it was crappy weed. Let's face it. I'm sorry.
Yes. They said it wasn't fair.
And that's another thing about why I support the research. We both know this stuff is good. I mean, it ain't the same stuff that I had back in the 70s.
Absolutely not.
It's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have a little, I'll never forget Acapulco Gold. I'll never forget.
Oh, man. I just had some
I'll
Acapulco
never forget
Gold.
Panama Red. Oh my God. I could still sing the song Panama Red. I'm not going to do it. Okay.
I just had some Acapulco Gold.
One more plug for your big event coming up in the first week of October. Go ahead.
Yes, man. Real Cannabis Entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen, the Real Cannabis Entrepreneur Conference, October 5th and 6th, 40 plus speakers, 1,000 plus attendees, after parties every night, off the hook, ladies and gentlemen, at the Doubletree, Newark, New Jersey, right at the airport. We had to upgrade to the largest hotel ballroom north of Atlantic City, and we still overflowed the parking lot last year. This year, we have private parking attendance, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you get there early. Go to realcannabisentrepreneur.com, realcannabisentrepreneur.com. Get your tickets right now. They're on sale, 30%, ladies and gentlemen. Hurry up, grab them. 30%, they're going to go up this weekend. And guess what? We got after parties. We got offsite after parties. We got mixers. We got all kinds of things to make sure that you get the business done, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what it's about, bringing the New Jersey community all about. Big up to my New Jersey, New York, Tri-State, Connecticut, Mass. All my people flying in as far as Zimbabwe last year. We're going to see if somebody flies even farther than Zimbabwe this year to come and hang out with us in Jersey, man. So big up, realcannabisentrepreneur.com, ladies and gentlemen. Go grab your tickets now. Big up to PCM TV and my man Jimmy, always doing it big. Always.
Thanks, Gary. Hey, he's Gary George, the real cannabis entrepreneur, and I just play one on TV. I'm Jimmy Young. Thanks for watching again in the Weeds, listening to In the Weeds, or however you'd like to get it. Remember, this is my closing line. It's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly.